Hello everyone, I am bringing you a Thai BL drama, Our Skyy. This drama focuses on 5 different love stories. Let's take a look at them in order. The first story is about Pick and Rome. Pick is a vet while Rome works at a coffee shop and the two have been together for a long time. Today, the two woke up as usual, washed up, ate and had a cozy morning. When Pick sends Rome to the front of the coffee shop, Rome tells Pick that she hopes to go to the water lantern with him in the evening, and Pick agrees. After all, his own daughter-in-law is so pampered, but I didn't expect that a date that was quite happy would end in a fight. In the evening, Rome was super happy to get off work early and came to the lake to wait for Pick. But since Pick was engrossed in his work, he made Rome wait at the lake for 4 hours. Rome is a little disappointed by Pick's attitude when he arrives at the park. As the two were about to release the lights, Pick again resented Rome's bad attitude.
ก็อยู่ตรงนี้แล้วอย่าหลายเรื่องได้ป่ะเหนื่อย
After hearing this, Rome sadly turned away and was ready to go home. After that, the two of them also went to bed without talking. And the little boy who sold the sky lanterns to Pick, by 3:00 a.m., he came to Pick in Rome's bed and let out a creepy laugh. And by the next day, the alarm clock goes off and the two get up as usual. But when they walk to the restroom, they find that they have switched bodies with their lovers. Pick over here is on the verge of despair, while Rome is still surveying his body all the time. It feels amazing to see the body with your own soul. However, it's almost time to go to work, and the two have to hurry up and switch their bodies over. But they tried all sorts of things. Whether it was a head-on collision or hugging each other, nothing worked. In the end, Rome remembered the episode of the TV show he had watched before and directly kissed Pick, but unfortunately, it still had little effect. They have no choice but to go to each other's workplace to work. It's a thrilling day for the two of them. As soon as Pick arrives at the coffee shop, he exudes a full aura and his eyes feel like they could kill. Because Pick is completely unfamiliar with the use of the coffee machine, he has no idea what the customers want from their coffee. On the other hand, Rome thought that pet hospital was an easy job, but never expected that his first customer would be a penguin. After work, Pick and Rome go to an open-air restaurant to eat together. The two suddenly think of the little boy selling lanterns that they dreamed of last night, so they speculate that this little boy may be the culprit that caused their bodies to be swapped. So, Pick and Rome go to the park to look for the boy, but alas, they find nothing. While the two are sitting on a bench, a mysterious woman suddenly appears behind them, laughing very loudly. Although they don't pay much attention, they suddenly hear a loud bang and the mystery woman sits down across from them. She tells them she knows the solution. Pick took out 1,000 baht and asked for the solution, and the mysterious woman tells them that there's a pile of stones on the table, and if they don't pick the same stone, through eyes and words, then their fate will be back on track. But the two men arrive before they can catch the city police, and the mysterious woman flees in an instant. After returning home, Pick and Rome try several times without catching the same stone.
นี่กูต้องเป็นแบบนี้ตลอดชีวิตเลยใช่ไหมการเป็นโลมมันแย่ขนาดนั้นเลยเหรอพี่ปิ๊ก
At this point, Pick gets fed up and just turns around and leaves. The next day, Pick's entire body is in deep thought as he listens to his co-workers at the cafe talk about how hard Rome works. On the other hand, hears her co-workers say that Pick values her when she is at work. When the two go to dinner together after work, they also reveal their hearts to each other. Rome works because she wants to help Pick reduce his stress, while Pick works hard to create a better future for the two of them. Now, the young couple's knot is finally untied. After returning home, Pick also apologizes to Rome and says that if the two people really can't be switched back, then he will definitely work hard to be a better Rome. The two of them, who already have a mutual understanding, sit on the bed after washing up and grab the stone again, not realizing that they have really grabbed the same stone. Then they turned off the light and went to bed. At 3 a.m., the little boy reappeared. Early in the morning woke up the two people. The body really switched back, but did not expect the two people actually become older. And Pick takes a closer look and realizes that the stone actually ages people. The two took out all the stones and realized that there were none that made people handsome. Now the two are desperate. What kind of image should they take to work? But after this incident, the two understood each other better and strengthened their hearts to love each other. Their story comes to an end here as well. No matter what the other person becomes, they love each other's heart, not their body or appearance. They proved that truly loving someone is not caring about his face appearance, but the communication between two people's hearts. After reading the first story, we are immediately followed by the second couple story, which is a story of a brave man who admits that he has come out of the closet and is trying to pursue love. At the beginning of the story, in order to help him pursue his girlfriend, Sun is also brokenhearted and chooses to leave. and intend to seek Sun's forgiveness, so she took the train to the countryside after a bumpy ride. After seeing Sun's posting, and immediately followed the coordinates to the store and ran into the owner, Albin, before she even entered the store, and learns from Albin that Sun is working here. After the two meet, the atmosphere is still a bit awkward, although An says that he is here to coax Sun back, but when Sun asks him where he went wrong, An is suddenly speechless.
งั้นก็แสดงว่ามึงยังไม่รู้จักกูดีพอเว้ย
And when An realizes that Sun is going to a photo shoot with Albin, he chooses to just follow him because he can't let his daughter-in-law be alone with another man. By the next day, the three of them set off together in a car, and is also very unhappy when she hears that both Albin and Sun are going on a photography trip. When the three of them arrived at the scenic area, Sun went to buy water, and then swore sovereignty to Albin, but he didn't take him seriously at all. When Sun is ready to climb the mountain, both An and Albin offer their hands. Sun thinks about it and chooses Albin, which makes An's jealousy explode, but he can't say anything about it. When they arrive at the Peak Hotel, the waiter informs Sun that their room is broken, so the three of them can only share one room, and Hotel also apologizes to them, so it lends them the boat so they can go to the beach to enjoy the sunset view. The three of them took pictures on the boat, and the two of them, An and Sun, got a lot closer to each other. When it's time to go to bed at night, An holds Sun tightly, but Sun's expression is not so good, so it seems that he hasn't forgiven An. Although Sun tried to break free a few times, but unfortunately, An hugged him too tightly, as if he was locking Sun in his arms. The next day, they were ready to leave for the reservoir to take pictures. Arriving at the lake, Sun and the others were ready to start setting up their tents, and can't help but start to get jealous as he watches the intimate scene between Albin and Sun and turns away. When the tent is finished, Sun sees that Albin is already asleep and decides to go to the top of the mountain alone to take pictures of the sunset. An, who is surely not going to give up such a good opportunity, immediately makes her position clear and insists on making a move with Sun. The two of them fought and jostled their way to the top of the mountain. At this time, An also got serious and wanted to talk to Sun. The two sat at the top of the mountain and talked to each other.
ทำไมมึงถึงชอบแกล้งกูจังมึงที่จริงอ่ะกูควรเกลียดมึงเลยด้วยซ้ำคนเราถ้าจะชอบใครสักคนอ่ะบางทีมันก็ไม่ต้องมีเหตุผลหรอกนะ
At the end of the day, An wanted to kiss Sun, but then Albin's phone suddenly rang. An is really dying of anger. His daughter-in-law is about to be coaxed, but halfway was interrupted by the enemy, heartbroken An. At night, the hotel room is lit with candles. Sun sings a special song, as if it is an accusation against An. At this point, An is full of embarrassment, and it looks like she has done too many bad things. When An realized that Albin and Sun, both of them, often hang out together, he was really a bit upset and took his guitar and sang a song to express his feelings at this time. He not only satirized his love rival, but also confessed to Sun in the process. After listening to An's song, Sun is so torn up inside that he walks to the beach to calm himself down, and came over just in time, so Sun decided to talk to him formally. Sun likes him very much, but An only treats him as a friend, and An's possessiveness towards Sun is obviously more than friendship, but he can't face up to his own feelings.
เป็นแฟนกับกูไงกูไม่ได้บังคับมึงนะแต่ถ้ามึงทำไม่ได้อ่ะมีคนที่เขาพร้อมรอกูอยู่
Albin on the side is busy, first pointing out An's feelings, and then giving Sun the idea to stimulate An. Sun is desperate and decides to give up his feelings for An. Just as An is about to go back to her room, she sees Albin with his arm around Sun and leaves in frustration. Seeing Sun in a bad mood, Albin also took the opportunity to confess his love, but was rejected by Sun as he still has only An in his heart. Thus, Albin also changed from a suitor to Sun's helper. He went back to the tent with Sun to check on An, but there was no sign of An. In order to look for An, both Sun and Albin decided to split up. Sun finally found An on top of the mountain. Sun encourages An to confess her love. People should always try hard once. After a long time of consideration, An finally took that step and said, "I love you."
กูรักมึงนะซัน
The two of them sat together and admired the stars for the rest of the night. The next day, when they returned to the tent, they found that Albin was no longer there and had left a letter for both of them. It turns out that Sun and Albin were so close, but it was actually a deliberate attempt to irritate An and make him jealous. This kind of trick is really very effective. Sun looks like a simple sheep on the outside, but is actually a cunning fox on the inside, easily letting An show his feelings. And An also finally realizes his feelings for Sun, and he wants to spend his whole life with Sun. The love between the two actually does make us envious. The person who loved you in high school is still waiting for you in the same place after many years. which is probably true love. I hope they can be happy all the time. For the third story, we are going to have an extra episode of Siosriang. Let's take a look at Mork and T, and see what their life will be like after getting support from their parents. On this day, the two are making a love video at home, and the loser is punished by having to clean the toilet. After 3 rounds, Mork finally wins over T 2:1. The next day at school, Mork recalls the video he made last night, just as T walks up behind him, sits down across from Mork, and hands Mork the room card for his apartment, offering him an invitation to live together. However, Mork declined, as he felt it was more beautiful for the two to have a bit of distance. That night, the two watched a movie in Mork's room, but Mork surprisingly fell asleep. The movie ends and he wakes up. T is a little upset, but is quickly coaxed out of it and tells Mork to study hard and not flunk. When T leaves, Mork struggles to write at his desk. He then ran out the door and called out to T, who was about to leave, and he mimicked the confession of the hero to the heroine in the movie by writing down what he wanted to say on a piece of paper and confessing to T. Needless to say, the two interacted so sweetly that even the night air became a tinge of sweetness. After the two bid each other goodnight, T left. The next day, T came to Mork's brother, Warlike, and wanted him to help him out with an idea because it was coming up to his and Mork's 3rd anniversary. So he wanted to give Mork a little different gift. T's sudden question confused Warlike, and he couldn't come up with any good ideas for a while. So the two decided to think long and hard. At night, Mork was going to call his friend Our, but accidentally called T's cell phone. Luckily, Mork's reaction was quick and immediately said that he had intended to call T. What followed was a chat between the two under the moon.
อะไรที่อยู่ใกล้ตัวเราอะเราก็ชอบลืมมันแหละ
With such a nice atmosphere, T decided to play the guitar and sing a song to Mork. With the sound of such beautiful music, the two people in mutual love spent a wonderful night. The next day, Mork's brother Warlike approached T and told him that he had a great idea to test Mork's heart. He plans to find a girl to make Mork jealous. T doesn't think it's a good idea, but it does inspire him. T then comes over to Mork to go for a walk with him and happens to run into Mork and a girl talking very intimately. Mork explains that it's his schoolmate Linda. During the run, Mork tells T that it's exam week and he may not be in touch much, and T understands and thinks it's important to study hard. The next day at school, Mork finds his junior Amo and asks him to cover for him as he is going to play the clarinet in the orchestra. The next day at school, Mork found his schoolmate Amo and asked him to cover for him because he was going to play the clarinet in the orchestra. But what he didn't realize was that T saw him leaving with his sister. T goes home and uses her other account to test Mork to see if he's really studying. But to her surprise, Mork actually returned her message and said a lot of emotional words. However, T used her original account and didn't get a reply from Mork. T's heart was in a bit of a panic. The next day, he and Mork were always distracted and a bit impatient when chatting. The conversation between the two was already full of unpleasantness, but then Linda, the older sister, came over from afar to say hello to Mork. T frowned and turned away, leaving Mork and Linda very chagrined. This side of T found Warlike, wanting him to help analyze it, but seeing such an intimate conversation, Warlike was unable to comfort T, and could only persuade him to stop trying. But T refuses. But they don't know that the person T is chatting with online is actually Amo. T tossed and turned all night and couldn't sleep for a long time, so he decided to go to Mork the next day to ask for information. When he went to the campus to look for Mork, he looked up and saw that Mork was holding Linda's hand on the 2nd floor. This time, T explodes with jealousy and just turns around and leaves. At noon, when the two people eat, looking at T's gloomy look, Mork did not dare to speak. The relationship between the two is like a taut string that could break at any moment. Just at this time, Linda called over and called Mork away. T's jealousy is completely off the charts. In the evening, T returns to the dormitory in a state of despair, but he can't find his apartment card. He suddenly remembers that he gave the card to Mork, so he goes to Mork's house. Outside the door, he hears Linda and Mork's ambiguous conversation. T is so upset that he sits alone on the bench, silently fuming, recalling his past with Mork, and his heart bursts with grief. The two of them are in a state of shock when T breaks up with Mork on the day of the 3rd anniversary, which shocks Mork. T thought that Mork was dating her behind her back, but after Mork's explanation, T realized that she had misunderstood. That night, it was the schoolmate who was instructing T to practice playing the drums. Then, Mork blindfolded T and the music started. T realized that Mork had prepared a surprise for her. T was very touched by this. After the music ended, The two stood in the center and confessed to each other. Love is a wonderful thing. It can make two people's hearts close together. No matter how much risk they face in the future, as long as they love each other, it won't be a problem for them. T and Mork's love for each other, and the support of their friends around them, is really enviable. Maybe that's what love is all about. There will be arguments and misunderstandings, but as long as two people love each other, it won't be a problem this time. Well, after watching Mork and T's story, let's take a look at another couple's sweet daily life. The camera goes to the other side of the screen. It's a beautiful morning. The sun is shining brightly, and the two big boys, Cal and Peter, are playing with water in the courtyard. Cal and Peter are playing in the water in the courtyard. The scene is full of sweetness, but suddenly a slipper flies from next door and almost hits them. Cal recites to Peter that something bad will happen and takes this opportunity to hug Peter. What's going on here? It turns out that the grandmother predicted that Cal would have a bloodbath and would even break up with her boyfriend. The grandmother gives Cal the method to break the tai sui and asks him and Peter to complete it within a day. Cal doesn't believe it, but after that day, he starts to get unlucky himself. He drank a cockroach with his coffee, found out he didn't have enough money when he paid, and went to the toilet without even having any paper, which made Cal believe in the grandmother's prophecy. In order to break the curse, Cal finds a day to get Peter to cooperate with him to break the tai sui. That's why the scene at the beginning. Then, the two of them go out in red clothes. Cal takes out a plan paper. Peter looks helpless.
แล้วมึงเชื่อเหรอ มึงต้องเจอด้วยตัวเอง
Suddenly the bell rings and it turns out that they have to hold hands once an hour, and they can't even travel by car, so they have to take the bus. Though Peter is very impatient, Cal's pampering soothes his anger. Afterward, the two arrive at a plant store in search of an orange tree that represents love. When they get home and plant it in their yard, they will have accomplished the fifth thing on their list of broken talions. But on the way home on the bus, Peter discovers a pervert taking pictures, and he doesn't hold back, impulsively fighting with the other guy. Then the two had to get off the bus temporarily to take a break. Then Peter asks Cal what his next assignment is. At the same time, the two of them looked at each other sweetly and meaningfully, which made me mistakenly think that they were going to have something happen. Who would have thought that they were going to play dead bodies? The two were wrapped in a white cloth. Peter was the first one who couldn't resist to come out from the white cloth, but he recognized Cal by mistake. Peter is the first to come out of the white cloth, but he recognizes Cal by mistake. The next task is for the two to walk 990 meters. Despite Peter's complaints, he let Cal hold his hand and the two of them completed the task with a walk. The two of them even hugged an orange tree and went to see a movie, completing another thing on their list. Just at the moment of dusk, the two are about to go home and surprisingly, they meet the bus pervert again. The pervert holds a grudge and beats up Peter, while Cal has to pull Peter away in order to put the matter to rest. Cal confesses everything while the two are resting on the side of the road. It turns out that Cal made up the whole thing about breaking the tai sui and wrote the list himself, just so he could spend more time with Peter. And knowing the truth, Peter is really angry and sits alone by the river waiting for Cal to coax him. But he can't stand Cal's pampering no matter how angry he is, and easily forgives Cal.
ยังเหลืออีกข้อหนึ่งอ่ะจำได้ปะ
The two of them kissed sweetly at the riverside, and it was such a beautiful picture. Peter tells Cal about the day and how he's been working on it for a long time. Peter told Cal that he had guessed that today's incident was fake and he just wanted to spoil Cal. The two love each other with the best of hearts, but even though it's beautiful, it's also accompanied by the two schoolboy-like quarrels. In the end, the two teamed up to plant an orange tree in the family's yard and plan a travel itinerary. While the bickering still hasn't changed, what hasn't changed is the love they have for each other. This is the 4th episode of Our Skyy. In this episode, Cal once again tamed Peter like a lion tamer, and Peter once again compromised his love and changed his mind. Even two people who love each other will face quarrels, but the reconciliation and changes after the quarrels are the evidence of their love. Because life goes on in the future and happy days are still coming. At the end of the story, let's take a look at the sweetest couple in this drama, who are also the most popular couple and so does the series. Time flies and Arudetphing and Chonpeng have been together for 4 years now. Arudetphing and Chonpeng have been together for 4 years now. They wake up cuddling in bed, waiting for Chonpeng's exam results. Arudetphing, as a senior, has tutored Chonpeng throughout her studies. If Chonpeng succeeds in the exam, he will get a full scholarship to study in China. The two reminisce about the efforts they made for the exams and are touched by each other, and the timing is just right, so the two cover up and start a sport that is not suitable for children. Then the two spend a sweet morning. Arudetphing went to the office and Chonpeng's exam results came out. As expected, Comfop passes the exam and gets a full scholarship. So, the two made a date to celebrate at home in the evening. Just as Comfop is cooking for Arthit to prepare the surprise, Arthit suddenly calls Comfop to the rooftop. Turns out, Arthit also prepared a surprise for Comfop and he called the friends of both of them to celebrate Comfop together. The scene was very lively as everyone hadn't seen each other for a long time. Just when the atmosphere reached its peak, everyone asked Comfop when he was leaving. Comfop's smile suddenly freezes as it turns out that he is leaving at the end of this month, and the parting is coming fast and furious. And Arthit is stunned by the news, a little overwhelmed, and begins to think about feelings and distance. The party is over and the friends are leaving. Arthit has to force a smile on the face of Comfop's thanks. The two of them pack up the dishes and go back to the room. Arthit is touched and saddened when he finds a surprise prepared by Comfop. In the face of her lover's imminent departure, Arthit can't bear to let Comfop worry, so she has to cry secretly in the bathroom. But when Arthit comes out, Comfop makes a new announcement. She's going home tomorrow to prepare the materials for going abroad. The two of them spent the night snuggling with each other, not realizing that the parting was so sudden. In the morning, Comfop prepares breakfast and sends Arthit out the door. The two don't want the other to worry about them as they face their parting. After Arthit left for work, Comfop packed her bags alone and took pictures of their cabin. And after returning home, Arthit reminisces about the two of them, as if Comfop is in every part of the house. But there is only a note left by Comfop asking Arthit to see him off. A frustrated Arthit finds his friend and raises his concerns about whether he and Comfop will be able to stand the test of time.
คือระยะทางมันก็สำคัญเว้ยแต่ว่ามันอยู่ที่มึงสองคนป่ะวะว่ามึงจะมั่นคงกันแค่ไหน
And the friend and the negative answers to various quiz questions all make Arthit worry about the relationship between the two. Comfop asks Arthit to meet him at the place where they fell in love to relive their good memories. Arthit, who has a lot on his mind, can't help but ask for a temporary separation. He is afraid that the distance will kill their memories. Comfop thinks that loving someone should leave no regrets. Even so, Comfop respects Arthit's idea because he will always love Arthit. And now, a couple in love has to leave with their backs to each other crying in pain. It was soon time for Comfop to leave and his family came to see him off. After Comfop said goodbye to everyone, he still looked back frequently, remembering the memories he had with Arthit. He keeps remembering how they met, how they knew each other, how they loved each other, and he also waits to see if Arthit will come. Just as Comfop turned his head and decided to leave, Arthit tapped Comfop from behind. Wow! Arthit finally shows up. At the last minute, Comfop hugged Arthit excitedly. Arthit apologized for not having faith in their relationship before. But it's good that Arthit finally figured it out and the two got back together. Comfop also prepared a parting gift for Arthit, a ring to secure her boyfriend. Arthit can't help but kiss Comfop in the face of the touch that Comfop has given him. After the kiss, Arthit also prepares a gift for Comfop, and the gift is a ticket to China. Arthit's gift is a ticket to China. Wow, Arthit is finally taking the initiative. I'm so touched. After that, the two were not hindered by the distance at all. Their hearts were still close. When the study abroad ended, the two finally woke up in a room once again. Well, the above is the extra story of Soda's the series. In this extra, Arthit and Comfop not only have a sweet romance, but also experience the test of time and distance. The two were happy, confused, and withdrawn, but thankfully never gave up and ended up in a happy ending. Though the episode ended, the life of the two continues and so does the happiness. Well, this is the whole story of Our Skyy. Hope you will like it. If you have any recommendations for dramas, you can also leave them in the comment section. Follow me and we'll see you in the next installment.